So I'm Terry with Embassy Specialty Vehicles and Embassy RV. We build a lot of different kinds of vehicles. We have a great support group here this weekend. So many of our customers are here and we just have a ball at this event. So I wanted to talk about things that we see and hear from folks that visit us. And we actually did a special project a few years back called Project Bear Cub, where we had people send us horror stories of a RV they have, and we picked one and rebuilt it and dug into it to see why it wasn't functioning properly. It ended up, we thought would be a partial rebuild. We ended up gutting the whole thing and starting all over again. It was so bad. And it was built by a professional builder from the East Coast. I won't say their name. They didn't know any rules. They absolutely, if they knew them, they didn't care. And it was an electrical disaster, a plumbing disaster, a mold disaster, a rotten wood disaster. You couldn't have done more things wrong. So I wanted to talk about, you know, we get single travelers and things where they're looking at an RV and they are looking at pretty and cute instead of what makes the RV function. And that is truly what you really want to look at and make sure that it is done properly. So part of what I try to share is it's worthwhile to pay somebody that can look deep into the RV and into the electrical, into the plumbing, and see that they've done it to code, because most people don't know what all these rules and codes are. So part of what we have to follow as a professional upfitter with RVIA and Ford Pro Upfitter and those things is we have to follow FMVSS rules. And FMVSS is Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. They set the rules that we all have to follow. There's wiring size rules, there's fuse size rules, there's length of wire versus the gauge of the wire, and all kinds of things that you have to do to build a good RV and a safe RV. I'm a judge at this several years, and this year they're doing it different. They're having everybody judge this year. And I get to see some interesting things as I was a judge. So seat belts lag bolted to 2x4s and no fuses at all, and wiring that's too small. And so hopefully, you know, this will inspire to, you know, if you are looking for an RV, how to look a little bit deeper and how to, you know what makes an RV tick and what makes it last and work well. So one thing Embassy does, and it's not an industry standard by any means, is we do bigger wires on every cable. When you're running off of battery systems, the battery has to be inverted to run the 120 volt loads. And we found that if we oversize our cables, it takes less energy from the battery to create that load at the other end. And that is not an industry standard, but something, you know, if you're building your own RV or doing those kind of things, it doesn't cost that much extra to pay for bigger wires and overload the system, because it just works so much better. Most of the companies, based from what we learned with Pro Upfitter and things, do the bare minimum at the very least, you know. Plumbing is, you know, not always ran smoothly, where there's dips in it and you can't get the water out of it when you want to winterize and things like that. And the wiring, the connections, the accessibility to it, and did they hit a screw in the wire or run it in a crazy place that could hit a screw in the wire, are all things that you have to pay attention to. Most RVs are built with wood. Did they use particle board? Particle board hates moisture, it hates water. RVs aren't a constant humidity inside. You're opening the door, you're leaving them open, you're closing them, you're running air conditioner, you're running vents. The humidity changes constantly. So some woods absorb that, insulations absorb that, you know. Is it going to be a problem in the future because of what they used in their materials? We've attacked that really well. Yes. Well, oh, closer? That's the question? My hearing aids sound just fine, by the way. My wife is wearing a partner mic, so when I can't hear something, she has a microphone on that goes to my hearing aids, which is really cool. And she's my liaison for sound.
Just kiss the mic.
So all the tools I've used through the years have affected my ears tremendously, I will tell you. So, if you go into one of our RVs that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever it is, it'll still smell new because of the materials used. We don't use wood behind the marine vinyls. We don't use standard house insulation. We use materials that can absorb moisture. If you're building your own RV, you know, those are things that you can really pay attention to because your vehicle will smell new the whole life of the vehicle. There's different grades of lithium batteries. You know, everyone's kind of toying with the lithium batteries. There's A, B, and C grade lithium. You know, you have to do a little research to see what grade your batteries are because it makes a big difference on longevity of the power system that powers the vehicle, and that's not always known. We have a customer that owned 2 other RVs from other builders, and she got mold and mildew damage to her where she couldn't even live in her own house because they found it in the house. And she's living in her RV now, and she's mold free and doesn't have to live in a tent any longer. She's actually living in a tent behind her house. It hurt her so bad. So that's the result of not paying attention to some of these things that are so important in an RV. Is it can damage your health. And as we all get a little older and we're enjoying these travels, you know, our health is a key thing for us. So, you know, particle board's used in a lot of RVs, and particle board hates moisture. It doesn't like screws. It isn't a good screw retention product. So they usually will wrap it, make it look like wood. You have to know, you know, what is the core. You can usually find a spot where you can see that it's actually particle board that's used as a core. It's heavy. You know, we all have GVWRs we're trying to battle with and get as much in the RVs as we can and still have some carrying capacity. So, you know, that's kind of a tough thing in an RV to use. I actually own a travel trailer that we bought from a big RV company. We were going to put at the lake for our pontoon. And Mike, so I'm a builder, and I thought I was a pretty good buyer too. This thing is the worst thing I've ever owned in my life. It's got cheap plumbing for garden hoses as the plumbing, and it actually burst on me once, and you're walking through a puddle of water. There was hole saws of wood in my furnace. Once I started digging into it, because I had some serious issues, I dug deep, and it's like there was wood in my furnace, my LP furnace, that just blew my mind. So now I want to sell it, but I'm a guy that has to fix it before I can sell it, because I couldn't possibly sell this to somebody in good faith. But, you know, even I got taken one time by a professionally built RV, so it can happen. Don't buy one in the dead of winter when it's 10 degrees outside is the moral of that story. So I don't know if there's any questions of folks that, you know, are thinking of buying or building or doing anything with their RV. You know, I'd be glad to answer them.
Yeah, I have a statement and a question. For someone, most of us already have vans here. And when I had a bad issue with going to one, I did my due diligence. I went Better Business Bureau, Yelp, beautiful website, article in the paper, all the rest, and I ended up having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to fix some improper things like smelling of burning wires or water pouring through where they put the air conditioner in, etc. And so even if you do your due diligence, how do you choose a builder? Because so many, they're not really certified. There's no certification. Any ideas?
You know, one thing, Ford had a program called Ford QVM, Quality Vehicle Manufacturer. They changed it later to Ford Pro Upfitter, where Ford deals direct with the big manufacturers now. When they stopped Ford QVM, we hired the head of Ford QVM that ran that for 34 years. And he was able to share with us some things that he wasn't able to share prior to that, because now we hired him. And even some of the big builders, like I say, RVIA, and I hate to say this, but everyone knows when they're coming. And you clean up, usually they clean up their act a little the day they're there. It's not that way all the time. And it's a known thing in our industry, you know, but a good quality builder that cares about the customer will not have a ton of horror stories in social media, first of all. So I know social media is a great source now to kind of weed out and say, do I see a lot of these kind of things with that builder? But there's also folks that will do a complete inspection. I think they're around $1,200 or something like that, where you can hire somebody that's a professional inspector that would go to that for you before you buy it and actually do a complete and thorough inspection, and that's all they do for a living. Usually the inspectors have been service guys for RVs, and they've seen just about everything you could throw at them, and they know where to look and how to look and those sorts of things. We've had customers get our vehicles inspected, and they send back, you know, glowing reports that they've never seen anything this quality before, because we pay attention to every aspect of the build. There's other good builders. I mean, there is, you know, we're not going to build every RV in the world. That's a given, but and you tried your best, it sounds like, to do everything you could do, but you're not necessarily probably electrical inclined. You wouldn't know what gauge wire. This particular fan on the Bear Cub project, they ran 2-aught battery cable to the driver's pedestal, which in a Ford, that's where the batteries are. They took a body saw and cut a tongue, we call it, in the metal, and they bent that tongue down and ran that 2-aught cable through without any protection, connected it to the battery with no fuse. That's a vehicle getting ready to burn down. Part 2 of that is Ford QVM and FMVSS says we can't cut a hole, we can't drill a hole on that pedestal. It's against the rules. That pedestal's been pull tested, and the minute you tamper with it, you would have to re-pull test that vehicle. So you're not allowed to cut a hole in it, and that tells me this vendor or upfitter didn't know or didn't care about those rules, because they didn't. We have to have a fuse within 18 inches of a power source. That's the rule. There was no fuse at that at all. The Battleborn batteries that were in that vehicle all read 0%. So I went in on a Saturday, because I wasn't familiar with Battleborn. We don't use that brand. And I pulled them out one at a time and put them on my bench, and they were all 13.8 volts. Lithium batteries are smart enough to know when to give up and shut down and say, I'm not doing this. And they just didn't do it. They were like brand new still, because they never worked, because they hit so many screws in the wires. They saw a problem and said, I'm not going to do this, and they shut down. So AGM batteries would have burnt the vehicle down in that case, because they can't do that. So lithium is a smart battery that can help you when something goes bad. Yes.
Can the general public access the rules that you're talking about?
Can you hear?
RVIA rules?
She'll repeat your question to me.
Okay. So can the general public get to the RVIA rules, such as the gauge wire has to be at least this, or the fuse has to be within a certain distance, or plumbing?
Can the general public access
The wiring chart?
RVIA, regulations and to know what's...
There are a lot of folks post those. What I do, we do so much yachting materials. A yacht wire code is more stringent than an RV's, because you got to jump in shark infested waters when you do something wrong. So what we do is we go by the yachting wire codes, and they are higher than the RV code. So if you do that, and there's charts you can get on that online and things that show you on 2-aught cable with a 150 amp fuse, for instance, you can only go 15 feet with that before you exceed the code. And that's what these charts will do for you, is they will tell you you can go this far with this fuse on that size wire, no more. If you exceed that, then you're not following the code. So we have all those charts. We have 2 engineers full-time. We went a little bit further, FMVSS rules change from time to time. We hired a guru that lives and breathes FMVSS. It's all he does for a living. He goes to every meeting, he goes to every seminar, and if there's any changes, he has a meeting with us and he teaches us what that change is, because it's even too much for us to keep up with on a daily basis. So, you know, those resources are out there for everybody. You just have to find them. And we do a lot of investigation on our behalf to make sure that we know what the code is today, so we don't do anything that, but because we're exceeding it, we usually don't have to make any changes because we've already exceeded that code. But it's a good question, but you can find those. Yep. Yep, over here.
So, where is the best place to find the inspector? Where is a good place to go? Is there a place that you have certified, a list of certified inspectors that you can?
Where's the best place to go to find inspectors?
You have to get closer.
Where's the best place to go to find the certified inspectors?
I think there's certified RVIA inspectors. I think, you know, as big as this group is here, there's probably people here that have done that. I'm sure inspectors are graded also, where there's ones that do a better job than others. So social media, again, is a great, you know, we're living in a world that you can get about every answer. But again, do your due diligence and maybe check into them a little bit and see, is there, well, I paid for this inspector, and then after I got my vehicle, I found there was all kinds of things wrong. I wouldn't want to use that guy, you know. So you have to work a little bit and dig a little bit deep, but there's a lot of resources. You can go to Good Sam's Club, some of the big magazine kind of things. They do a lot of that research for you. So there's some really good RV avenues to find and go to that are trusted sources. I wouldn't go to an RV dealer and ask that question, because they're going to have one that does it for them. You know, you want to have somebody truly independent. And usually those kind of sources, Good Sam's Club's probably a really good source for good information. They've got a pretty good network. Yeah, I hear nothing past the first row.
I can't hear that.
And I am horrible at reading lips too, by the way, so I'm in trouble.
Someone told her that RVTAA has a list of inspectors. RVTAA.
RVTAA has a list of inspectors, we're being told.
No, she's
right?
asking if someone told her, and she's wanting to verify that.
I have not ever, I should have hired an inspector for myself for the travel trailer we own, but yeah, I've never hired one.
What is the RIV that you're talking about?
RVIA,
Yeah, that.
that's a recreational vehicle inspection agency that everybody, RVIA, Pro Upfitter, Sprinter, Pro Program, Stellantis' Pro Program for Upfitters, everybody preaches FMVSS. The Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards is who sets the rules to keep people safe. When we are RVIA, and we're approved, every one of our vans gets an RVIA sticker on it, they inspect us, gosh, every other month or so, and make sure that we're using breaker panels that are RVIA certified, water tanks that are RVIA certified, plumbing. You know, there's so many, there's books and books and books that my engineers have to go through, and I've done it before myself. For one book for plumbing, one book for electrical, one book for LP, one book for air conditioning. So RVIA has taken and gathered all the information for a professional upfitter to have the resources they need to build a good RV. And then they will inspect you, and if you get dinged a couple times, they will kick you out of the program. They will fine you the first time. If you keep getting dinged on the same thing, you'll get kicked out of RVIA, and it's not easy to get back in. Yeah. Mercedes does the same thing. If you're a Mercedes professional upfitter and you don't listen to Mercedes and they kick you out, you will never, ever get back in their program. They're very stringent about that. So all these big companies, what happens is somebody doesn't follow the rule and they get sued and they go out of business. Guess who gets sued? Ford, Mercedes, Stellantis. They're the big companies that aren't going out of business, and they got sick and tired of it and said, okay, you guys gotta start following these rules, and that's what this is all based on.
Jerry, a lot of insurance companies need RVIA stickers on. I know Progressive does. If you don't have it, they won't insure your van.
If you're not listed in the NADA book, which I have to send reports in constantly, how many vehicles we're building each month and what vehicles they are, what VIN numbers they are and things, it's really hard to get insurance. It's almost impossible to get finance on an RV that isn't listed in the NADA book. You probably wouldn't get any financing if that. So that shows you the level of builders sometimes. Are they even in that? Does your model show up in it where you can even get financing for it? You know, those are big factors in building.
So, in my case, I mean, this is an independent builder,
Mm-hmm.
not with any of those big companies, and I ended up suing.
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that you think it's time now for these independent builders to have certification? I mean, is that something that we should all look for, to ask and make sure that they are certified?
It costs a lot of money to get certified because you have to put a lot of resources in. To do a seatbelt pull test that we do on our vehicles, just for that, you're probably going to spend $20,000 to $25,000 just to pull test a seat to put seatbelts at it in your vehicle.
So none of these
We did on our B Plus you see over here, we did a roof crust test and pulled 14,000 pounds. We had to build a body just for this test, and then we have to destroy it. And if you fail, you're not certified for that. So we are certified for a bus rollover test because we did a bus rollover test certification on RV that doesn't demand it. The RV industry in a B Plus does not say you have to roof crush test your roof. Most RVs, putting $14,000 or pounds pulled down on it, it would crush that roof. We didn't flex because we work so hard at exceeding all those things.
But now, if you do a custom job, which is different from all your other vans, would you still have it certified?
We couldn't do it if we weren't certified.
Right, but you would
Yeah.
still do custom.
We're a big enough company. We have almost 80 employees now. We build all the Salvation Army disaster vehicles. We build all the surgical instrument vehicles that repair the surgical tools at the hospitals. I've been building those 34 years. We build SWAT vehicles, homicide vehicles. We build mobile canteens, mobile commercial kitchens. We build electric vehicle we are building now that's incredible. We are very diverse. I built vehicles that scan for nuclear weapons at the border for the military. I built spy vehicles. You know, I built health department vehicles for Kentucky and pharmacies for Kentucky. You know, I've been blessed to be able to build just about anything we want to build. My engineers don't always like that blessing because they have to work really hard at it then, but we put the resources in and the money in to know we've done it right. And I still build for the same surgical instrument companies 34 years later because we're always trying to do better, and they know we've got their back and we're going to take care of them. Every vehicle they get is built better than the last one. It's not always the case. We're passionate about what we do. Our crew's passionate about what we do. And there's very passionate builders here. Some are in it for the money, you know. That's the nature of this game. Some people see that I can make some money at this and they do it, and that's the wrong reason. You have to do it to make your life and your travels better and enjoy this beautiful experience, and that's what it should be about, not about the money. You have to invest. In our end, we have to invest a lot. Just for our fiberglass work on that B+, we spent $60,000 on the molds and the engineering to do that. You know, not everybody's capable of doing those kind of things to make sure that they do it really well. So, but I will say sometimes the small builder, and not every case, but in a lot of, I think they would spend more time sometimes trying to do better because it's so detrimental to them. If they get a bad report, they're done. I think DIYs a lot of times will do better than some small builders because it's for themselves and they're going to try harder. Some of the smaller builders, you know, may not know all the resources it takes to do that properly. It takes I mean, I've been doing it a lifetime. I was 22 years old when I started building these vehicles. And so I'm a little older than that now, so it's been a few years. Yeah. And we're sorry that you did that, but it sounds a little bit like what we had to deal with on that one.
It's fine now. I spent
Yeah.
a lot of money getting it fixed, and I
Yeah.
sued the guy.
Yeah. But now you know the core, you know what it takes to do that, and they had to dig pretty deep, I'm thinking. Yeah. The one we had, they ran electrical in the ceiling with the plumbing and liquid nailed 3 cases of liquid nail and everything, and then they stapled tongue and groove cedar to it and hit every damn one of them with staples and just wiped it out. And they had 120 pounds left on the GVWR when we weighed the vehicle without anything in it. She had no carrying capacity. And you just can't do that to somebody. That's just, I mean, it's an unusable vehicle. So what I thought would take us a couple of days to maybe fix some things, it took us 3 days to strip this vehicle out. I had to create chisels on Sawzalls, and we had to cut every 2 foot the wood and chisel the liquid nail to get it to break loose, and it was tough. Yeah. Chuck, you got to talk to her, buddy.
RV people won't tell you what the real weight capacity is.
We have, part of FMVSS is we have to put a federal motor vehicle gray sticker on your driver door jamb disclosing our weight. If there's not a gray sticker there, we can't even do that. We can't put a vehicle out the door that doesn't have that sticker. That is a FMVSS requirement as a completed vehicle. Technically, when we buy chassis, and we buy hundreds of them at a time, they're incomplete until we get them done. And then it's considered a completed vehicle, and as a completed vehicle, we're required by law to put a sticker disclosing weights and how much carrying capacity you have left and those kind of things on the vehicle. That's part of the rules. If you don't know the rules and you don't see the gray sticker, that would be a sign that they're not up to date.
Does it actually say carrying capacity, or are there numbers that we have to, the top?
Well, you know, your GVWR, if it's 11,000 and the vehicle's weighing 9,500, you can do the math on that. They don't make us say the carrying capacity always, but you have to disclose what you weighed and what the GVWR is on that sticker is the primary thing, and then you can do the rest yourself.
So for somebody who wants to build their own, what are some good resources for best practices so that we don't end up holding our windshields in with liquid nail?
So if somebody wants to build on their own, what are the best resources to figure out the best practices?
I'm not going to give away my FMVSS guru if that's what you're asking. we have to search the world over to find these guys too. You know, you're going to do a lot of work. You're going to do a lot of things to find out. You might be able to find certain things out online about RVIA safety standards. You know, I'm sure some of those are printed out. You're not going to get the big books. You're not going to get the big books we get unless you pay a lot of money again. Every one of those stickers costs us like $295 to put on your vehicle. That's how RVIA gets paid. We have to pay for each sticker, and it's got like a VIN number on each sticker. And you're not allowed to give another sticker out. You can't even hand one to somebody. They check in inventory our stickers, because they're like gold, and it identifies vehicles that we have built and certified. Yeah.
I've got one of your bees.
Yeah.
As far as the weight goes,
Yeah.
here's some people getting it weighed and worrying about it being balanced. Is that something we sort of need to do?
On ours, you don't have to worry. We're within 100 pounds of balance on each tire. We, as a certified upfitter, we have to do a 4-point weight on every vehicle. We own scales that we have to drive each vehicle up on that weighs each individual tire weight all at the same time. And then we have to have a certain percentage on the rear, a certain percentage on the front that you can't exceed, and there's a balancing act to that. So when somebody asks me, and we get asked this a lot, can I move the bathroom back 2 feet? No, because we're so balanced, it would put us off balance just from that movement.
So no matter what I put or where I put it in like the garage or you know where I'm going to put stuff in storage, I don't have to worry about it after it's
No, we're in really good, yeah. We're really balanced, and the way we set up your storage, it helps with that when you put the stuff in. We have so paid attention to balance and the percentage of weight on the front. Part of what we have to do too is we actually have to raise the front tires up 18 inches on our lift. We have lifts that we can raise each individual tire if we want. And we have to reweigh the vehicle with that, and that's called a center of gravity weight. If we shift too much on the back when we do that, we wouldn't pass RVIA inspection. That means we have too much weight up high, and it could be a rollover issue, and that's one of our criteria we have to follow, and that's part of what I'm saying. There's just so many things. I mean, it's thousands of things that we have to comply with to build a good RV. Yeah, and yours is very balanced. Yeah. Even our Cape Cod is the reason things are where they're at, where the batteries are, where the water tanks are. It's for that balance. We can't move them a foot forward. We can't move them a foot back. They're in a perfect place for that balance.
Over here.
Yep.
Are you planning to do, or are you doing now, any electrical vehicle chassis? Yes.
My partner used to own Starcraft Bus and Evergreen RV and Stealth trailers and all kinds of stuff, and he loves, like me, to tinker with things, so he just happened to tinker with building an electric vehicle called Sevna. We're opening a plant to build it right now. It's a massive electric vehicle that we can use for buses and all kinds of things. Eventually we'll maybe introduce an RV on it. It's very new right now. It does burnouts. It has a 15,000 GVWR, a 17,000, or a 22,000 GVWR. We put a 22-foot composite body on it, and they can haul gear in it, and it has a 190-mile range as a big vehicle loaded with cargo. He's working on a rotary engine to add to it, and it'll have a 500-mile range. So we have the capability to create and build things, and it's a cool looking vehicle. I mean, he spent a ton of money creating the cab of it. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right now, the Ford Transit, Ford got with me early on when they built the E, and they said, "Are you going to order any for your RVs?" And it has if you use the air conditioner, it has a 96-mile range. If you use the dash air conditioner. I said, the customer would never get where they're going. And I need to charge our batteries with an engine, and there's no way to charge your lithium batteries, so you would be a corded vehicle on the current electric vehicles on the vans, because there's no way to get any charge back to your lithium unless you're sitting in the sun with solar, which isn't efficient on a van at all. Solar on a van sitting in the sun, you're using more air conditioner power up than you'll ever get back from being in that sun. So with a rotary engine added to the one we're building, I can run a second alternator on that rotary engine and get the charge I need for my lithium, and that starts changing the game. So it's probably a couple years away from being an RV, but we have one. Yeah, it's really cool. If you look up Sevna, and yeah, there should be some stuff online on our, and it's probably through our website too. We have Techstar mobile kitchens. We have Feather Rock composites. We have the electric vehicles. We have quite a few divisions of Embassy where we create things for ourselves. So all my composites that are our composite subfloors in our vans are one-piece composite bonded to the metal of the van with no screws through the floor, so we don't have to go underneath an undercoat. we haven't damaged that body. It's all urethane adhesion, and we make all that. So it really helps us on our builds.
Are the composites bonded with liquid nails?
I don't own any liquid nail. Liquid nail is a brittle product. The van's flex. It's the last thing you want to do in your van is use liquid nail. 100% urethanes will flex with the flex of the vehicle and they won't let loose. So there's some really good urethanes that we use that do that job. But yeah, you can use it on your porch at home. It works well, the outside stuff. Yeah, but no, that was crazy. I mean, yeah. Yeah. But so hopefully it's been helpful. You know, you did experience what I'm talking about. It happens, you know. There's big RV dealers out there that are all about the sale, not about the client after the sale. You know, you got to look into that too. Some of them are about how many can I push, not how do I take care of you after I've pushed it.
Right. I don't say it's funny, but he ghosted me, of course, because I took him to court. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And so I have all of these things, mechanical things that I don't really understand and didn't get any instruction on. So it's taken me years to figure it out, to try to figure out how things work.
Is it lithium battery?
Yes, it is lithium battery.
What battery?
Good question. It's Victron.
Victron
It's
system. You know, it has to have a lithium battery to support that.
Right,
So I'm
yes.
not, and it could be a Victron battery. They build batteries
The whole
too.
thing is a Victron system.
So it's probably a Victron battery.
And I took it to a high-end marine specialty place in Newport, Rhode Island, and
Yeah.
they redid the whole thing.
Yeah.
Cost, but
Yeah. And like I say, the marine builders are very, very inspected because you're traveling on an ocean. There's no RV service centers in the middle of the ocean. So our system that we have in ours is Master Volt. Our batteries are Master Volt, our touch panels are Master Volt, our inverters Master Volt, our fuses are Master Volt, our fuse panels are Master Volt, our wiring to the touch panels are Master Volt. We created that with them. Master Volt's owned by Brunswick Corporation. Brunswick Corporation owns Mercury Marine, Motor Guide Trolling Motor, Blue Sea, Marine Co., Boston Whaler. They are just massive in the yachting world, so I chose them. We created this system with them where 15 engineers signed off on our electrical system our customers have. We have a 5-year warranty for the complete system because it's been signed off by 15 engineers. And it's married. We can remote into the vehicle and see it if they're in Europe and see what's going on with it because it's yacht. A yacht is satellite-based communication, and we have that system in our RV. That's never been done before. Everyone else has to have a Victron, a Firefly, a Battleborn, a different battery. You know, it's probably 5 or 6 different companies to achieve that task, and one may be a 1-year warranty. The batteries, if they're good, are 5-year warranty, but the fuse panels are probably a 1-year warranty. We changed that game by taking all the resources that Brunswick Corporation has in their engineering, and they now call that Fathom, and they're taking it to the RV industry. They go to shows and they talk to me. We're helping them with marketing because they'll go to a show and nobody knows who Fathom is. They're bigger than any company in this whole place. They're massive with resources and engineers all over the world that can get on the phone and help you, you know, so they have some marketing to do and they have a big marketing campaign going. But oh my gosh, it's been a game changer by teaming up with them and creating that system. And everyone will attest to that has that here, that, you know, we had 2 ladies in Idaho and the system yelled at them, and we remoted in and the system said you have a loose connection between switch number 2 and battery number 2. There's a mega fuse on the floor right there. It was a 3/8 of a turn on 2 nuts and it stopped it and it told us where it was at. Yeah. So that's where we're at, and that's the evolution that Mastervolt will bring to the industry. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Hey, Terry?
Yes.
Just a quick consumer tip. If you hire an inspector and the company or the dealership does not let that inspector have access to that rig to inspect it, run.
Yeah.
Take off. That's a big clue. That's what we call a clue. Full disclosure, I am an embassy owner, very happy. And we were getting ready to, we were looking like everybody else, doing our research and looking to get an inspector to, look at our rig. We decided after meeting Terry and getting a tour of his facility, not to even go down that route. In October of 23, we picked out our rig and we haven't looked back yet. Every time he's accessible, the VP of the company is there for you. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just a dedicated embassy owner. I'm very proud. I'm just going to pass that on.
I did have to sneak some tools over there and help some people out yesterday, and they, I had to do that a little under the. What's that? Yeah, but we so appreciate it. Mark, he had somebody rear-end his RV in a big truck doing 45 mile an hour at a traffic light. Nothing in our RV let loose because it's all aluminum composite and bonded together with urethane adhesion and not just screws screwed into wood. And you did get hurt, it hit you hard enough that he got neck damage and things from it, but what is it?
Really close.
We didn't have shrapnel from that impact, which was massive, and it totaled his vehicle out, flying through and hurting him again. Oh yeah, no, I step over these cords all day long, guy. But we hate to see that happen, but it's a true testimony to a quality build. Is look at it, one that's been in an accident, and see if everything's laying on the ground. We have a lot of stories of customers driving up to Alaska with other people, and their cabinets will be not so attached after a while in the trip. And we pride ourselves in making sure that when we build something and do it, that it can handle flex. You have to understand a unibody constructed vehicle, when it hits a bump, flexes, and it's designed to flex. If you build stuff on the inside that can't flex and it needs to flex, it's not going to stay together very long. So when we do aluminum constructed cabinetry on one piece and we form it and laser cut it and powder coat it, I show everybody when you come for a walkthrough that it's allowed to flex. So it gives with that and doesn't rip it apart. And it's such a big thing. And that was proof of it with Mark when he got hit by that truck. Yeah.
I'd like to see a show of hands of how many embassy people are here.
Whoa.
We have a great showing. It's such a big family. And I will say that these folks here support each other like you can't believe. I'm not always available at 9 o'clock at night, but somebody in the embassy family will answer you and help you and if they don't know it, they'll get with somebody else and they'll get an answer for you. That's part of this lifestyle, and I'm sure it happens a lot here. The support of family is absolutely incredible.
Well, so two things on the support side. One, you have three things. A lot of tutorials on YouTube. There's a great Facebook page for embassy owners, and that's where a lot of information can real time. And then two of the best YouTubers who own are sitting right in front of you.
Yeah.
The Amorosos, incredible things that they do. And
our customers created Embassy Owners and Wannabes on Facebook. There's over 2,000 members of that group, and there's a lot of wannabes in the group, but they share. If somebody wants to see a vehicle, they'll go visit one of them. Something's coming in my hearing aids and shut off my volume. So I get so many Bluetooths, it shuts me down, but you're hearing me. Yeah, I can't hear myself right now. But yeah, it's, that's part of, you ask about how to search something if you're looking to buy. There's usually a group of owners that have grouped up, and if you can find them, they will give you the real report on, was this a good decision or not?
And it's
Yeah.
so great. I mean, I got on that group 10 months before I got my vehicle. There's so much I knew about it before I picked it up because it's out there.
She was in that group for 10 months before she got her vehicle.
Yeah.
By the time she purchased her vehicle, she knew so much about it.
Yeah. And we give videos, we give 82 videos on a memory stick to play on your TV to teach you better how to use things. I'm not a big writing person. Everybody will know I have to have other people do all that because I'm too busy. But we love giving video instruction that you get to watch on your 32-inch TV and teach you how to do things a little bit better. And, you know, so there's fun things like that that you can do. And, you know, like I say, there's some really good builders here too. We're not the only good builder, but hopefully these points will help. What? Oh, my family are all musicians and love getting in front of a mic. I am not that person. So
we have a monthly Zoom conference too.
What is it?
The owners do a monthly Zoom conference that we talk about problems or whatever.
Yeah.
So every month we get together and just...
So every month they get together, the Facebook group, and they talk about things and how to help each other and how to do different things, Bob's telling me. So, and I'm not a Facebook person either. This was created by the owners and monitored by the owners. Embassy does not monitor it. It's real, it's live, and it's honest. Yeah. And if we make a mistake, we talk about it, they'll let us know, and we'll have a meeting, and we'll make sure that goes away very, very quickly. You know, because it is our reputation also that's at stake. So, yes.
I wasn't here at the beginning of your talk, but if someone wanted to look at one of your van builds, where would they be looking here? Which one? Right behind the first stage.
What is it?
Where are the embassy vans located? I mean, we've got a demo over there.
We've done something that's unique. If you see the stainless steel scuppers on the side of the vehicle, it's an embassy. It's a trademark of embassy. Those are our venting systems to become stealth. So anytime you see the scuppers, it's an embassy.
Yeah, what's a scupper?
It's a vent I created in 2003 to not have a hole in the roof, to be completely stealth. It's a yachting engine vent that they use to vent the engine compartment of a yacht, that we put a 50,000-hour little fan inside there, and 2 of them blow in, 2 of them blow out, and it ventilates the vehicle without having a hole in the roof.
Explain what the scuppers are. People don't know what to look for.
What do they look like?
Is that an embassy van right there?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. They're the chrome things up on the side of the vehicle, one in the front, one in the back. Now, that's an embassy over there, yes. They're all over the place. So it's so funny because our customers will see one running down the road and see the scuppers, and they'll stop at a rest area. There's 4 of them on it, 2 on each side. So our YouTube blogger, Scott over here, our best buddy, he's got one of our ProMaster demos, and I did something different on that vehicle. We put a Max Air fan on the roof, and to create the trademark, I didn't put fans in the scuppers, but I needed to put the scuppers so they would know it's an embassy. So when the fan runs, it sucks air through them and ventilates the vehicle without any motors in it. So that's a first test, and he's liking it. So, you know, it was so important to me to have that look. You know, I still put it on there. He's been in a Travato all these years, and we built a demo just for him to run around in for 3 months so he could experience the embassy travel, and he's smiling. So he's enjoying it.
He was talking to her about the toilet yesterday. He's loving it.
He didn't want me to put that in there, and I said, you gotta try this thing, because Bob and Deb are the ones that sold us on that. Yeah, so it's fun. You know, you should be having fun in this, and the whole experience should be fun and enjoyable and not painful. And that's part of what we're talking about and what we're doing. You can tell, you know, there's a lot of joy in these travels, and for everybody to want to get together and do these things and get out of the house and get off the couch and enjoy this life that we've all earned at this age. You know, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah. Now, Scott has a unique RV. We ordered 20 ProMasters that were all extended ProMasters. We got one in that was not extended. It's a standard. we paid for an extended, the VIN number says extended, and the door on the back is a 3500. You can't order a standard 3500 from Stellantis. It's impossible, but we own one. So we built it into a demo and let him run around with it, and just to show, you know, what it'll do on a shorter chassis. But we had it in production, and we didn't know till it pulled in production that it was the wrong vehicle. And I'm still waiting for Stellantis to get back to me, because the customer will end up going to a dealer and say, this isn't right. So they have to change something for us on that. But that's the first time that's ever happened, and it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
So folks, if you want to come see that, I'm calling it a special edition.
You got to use your outdoor voice, Scott.
If you want to come see the vehicle, it's right behind the first aid van. It's a white van. Mine's silver with the scuffers. It's also unusual because it's the SS model, which means it's got a single sofa, not two. So if you're a solo traveler and don't see the need for that second bed, this is a great way to see what that looks like. That was kind of my thing, right? So it's a very different vehicle. Again, if you want to talk about toilets, I'm happy to talk about toilets, because thank you, Bob and Deb, for convincing that, because I was no effing way. And now I love it.
I know it's her partner, Mike, that's messing with my hearing aids now, because when she laughs, that's what I hear. All righty. I don't even know. Oh, we're doing good. Can you hear him?
We have 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He had a question.
Yeah, we have a Cape Cod. The Cape Cod model is over there. There's also a couple out there.
Yeah, we have 3 of them here.
3 of them?
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, I've built the vans all my life, so we decided to build a B+. We took about 1.5 years to build it, the owners will attest to, but we didn't want to rush it. We knew when we built it, we wanted to build something unique and special and different from anybody else in the industry, and we accomplished that. You know, it's just a treat to drive and travel with, and it's your hotel room driving on the road with you. I mean, it's just so spacious and wonderful way to travel. So I'm spoiled now myself. It may be hard for me to go back to a van. But that's the joy of a builder, is I get to build things. My crew creates it after I draw it, and then I get to test it. It's a fun job. All righty.
Our Cape Cod is on the other side of the pavilion for the van life.
You can't miss it. It's silver and cactus gray. It's a green Bronco color that we chose for the color on that one. So it's called cactus gray and ingot silver, and we have an embassy tent right beside it to highlight it, but you can't miss it. It's just right behind these vehicles here.
And it's right on this road. I forget what this road is.
Yeah, it's just right over here. Yeah. So we love to show it off to you. It's a wonderful vehicle. We did put a double love seat recliner in it. It's long overdue, so I think we're going to have some upgrades we need to do. But yeah, it's part of what we do too, is we're always trying to do better. Our evolution is incredible. We're not like a lot of the big builders where every year they come out with a new model. Embassy reserves the right to make changes constantly, and we do that pretty regularly. We're always working on new gadgets and new things to improve the builds.
Terry, all Embassy owners love to talk about their vehicle. Just walk up to one and you will get inundated with information, because we love them.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, we appreciate everybody. It's a beautiful weekend compared to last year. My goodness. But the Cabana was a big hit, and our vendor that sells the Dreha air conditioner sold 25 of them the next week, because everyone walked into our vehicle and felt the heat it was putting out and blew them away. So yeah, it's a really good air conditioner. If you do ever look for an air conditioner, the Dreha air conditioner has a heat pump in it. It's an incredible air conditioner. It's really, really good.
I might just mention a little bit about the HOA stealth.
He's suggesting you talk about HOA stealth.
And I can't. What is it?
Can you talk a little bit about the HOA stealth?
Well, we've never been kicked out of an HOA. When we do the scuppers that we do and we don't put a roof air on the vehicle and we don't have all the cutouts on the side of the vehicle to give it away as an RV, our water tanks are inside. We do so much stuff inside and give access to those things so it looks more like a normal vehicle. And we have yet to be kicked out with one of our vans from an HOA. So it saves a lot of money having to pay for storage and all the other things that go along with that. The Cape Cod is not going to be HOA friendly. You will get kicked out.
Is the B Plus registered as an RV or as a car, or are you talking about the B vans?
The B van.
The B van, is that registered as an RV or a car?
You get to kind of choose that. So if you're in a HOA, you're not going to register the plate. You can insure it as an RV, which you really want to do, but you don't have to plate it as an RV. So that's the difference. On a Cape Cod, you're going to plate and insure it as an RV because you don't care when it comes to that. But no, a lot of people will plate it as a non-RV for that.
By state? Would that vary by state?
Every state, we sell to every state. It works pretty well.
Have you had instances where the insurance company allowed a person to insure as an RV but still register it as?
Yeah, quite a, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
1,000 insurance companies, and every one of them I have a Google commercial bus, like shuttle bus, that they just always commercial.
That happens a lot with, yeah. Progressive knows us really, sorry, I have a cough. Progressive knows us really well. A lot of customers use Progressive, and Progressive knows Embassy really, really well. So they're the preferred insurer. State Farm does too, but in Mark's case, Progressive fought diligently for them to get a new vehicle because the company's insurance that hit them wanted to buy him the same year vehicle he had. Well, we don't build that year anymore. So Progressive was very, very diligent in taking care of the customer in that case, and I can't say enough about that.
Besides your own build vans and all the vans you have, owners that are happy, what other builders do you look up to and admire?
What other builders do you look up to and admire?
To be fair, I don't get out much. I've been stuck in the building. These are the things I get out to. I've never taken a 2-week vacation in my life other than business, and those will change for us as we get a little older now. When we design and build a vehicle, we don't look at everybody else. We look at what the customers want, and we build by that. I don't want to be influenced by other people, so I don't look at other. When we did the Cape Cod, we had a live with Scott and 25 customers, and Scott had them hold up 1 to 5 stars and $1 to $5 so they could vote on how important is this item to you. And that's how we created the Cape Cod. We listened to the customers, we built the way they wanted it built, and paid attention to the details that they asked for. Yeah, but thank you. Well, thank you all. I don't have to tell you, I know you'll have a great time this weekend, so.